What's up, guys? Games Workshop nerfed the Iron Hands. Bang, bang, bang. Let's check it out. I've read through this once, so it's not quite a first reaction, but, you know, we'll get into some things here. The FAQ came out today. I think this FAQ may be a little heavy-handed, iron-handed. Maybe, we'll see. So clearly the Iron Hands were too strong, and that was a problem. Now, Games Workshop diving right in and changing a bunch of things in the Codex, to me, might be just a little too much. I think some of these changes could have been sprinkled in and then see how they play out and then continue to change them. GW clearly isn't making changes like this when things are a problem always, unless this is now how it's going to be, which is actually a good thing. But there's still -3 to shoot Eldar flyers in the game for some reason. There's still flyer spam in general when the mechanics of having flyers in the game are kind of clunky in the first place, and they just haven't fixed it. So if I was going to fix the flyer issue, which Iron Hands are still going to be very, very good with 3 or 6 flyers, so that's not changed. None of this affects that at all. They're going to be really good. And I think they need to make flyers just 0 to 3. Like anything that got that new aircraft keyword, make it 0 to 3, because there's just, the game gets clunky and the mechanics of the game don't really work for having 6, 7, whatever flyers on the board. Things just, don't interact with them the way the rest of the game works, I guess. But let's check this out here. We have Rites of Tempering. This is on Granddaddy, Iron Daddy Pharos. Change this ability to read infantry models in friendly Iron Hand units have a 5+ invulnerable save, while their unit is within 6 of this model. Now this is a great ability, having a 5+ invuln save for your infantry models. This makes for a really odd choice for a Primaris Tech Marine who should be around the vehicles that he heals and not the infantry that he provides nothing to, except this 5+ invuln save now. Okay, I think this one might be a bit much. If you remember the problem with the Castellan, which went on for a very long time before they made any changes to it at all, and it was definitely a problem. And the problem was it killed all vehicles so easily that didn't have invuln saves. So if you had a vehicle without an invuln save, you basically stopped taking it, because if you came across a Castellan Knight, they were dead, like, torn apart like pieces of paper. So maybe the aura 5+ invuln for your vehicles is too much for Space Marines, because they are very powerful now. But I would have preferred this be like one of the other changes they made, where you select one vehicle near 6 inches of you, and you get a 5+ invuln on the vehicle. So I think that would have been a cool change. Making it an infantry aura doesn't seem that great to me. It does still provide it to him and other characters around him that would be, say, buffing the vehicles, like a lieutenant or a captain or a librarian. But that's okay. The Ironstone at the start of each battle round. So this would be having to choose this in your opponent's turn as well. Well, if your opponent's going first in the battle round. Select one friendly Iron Hands vehicle within 3 inches of the bearer until the start of your next battle round, so you can't change it. When resolving an attack made against that vehicle, if the bearer of this relic is within 3, the vehicle unit gets reduced damage suffered by 1 to a minimum of 1. So they had the aura 5+ invuln from the character, and they had the aura damage reduction from the relic. So right off the bat, they nerf them both. I wish, like I said before, that Iron Hand's invuln thing should have just pick a vehicle the way this one you pick a vehicle. They already are deciding that you can just change an aura to pick one. So instead of making an aura for something the guy's probably not going to be around anyway, maybe you do it this way. That's a very powerful relic. It is what it is. I'm actually against 40k castles. I always think it looks very, very stupid. Dark Angel players used to do it nonstop with like all their characters and then all their stuff crammed around it. People did it with Gilliman. They cram everything around Gilliman. And people were going to do that with the Iron Hands as well if they hadn't already. And I think that looks terrible on the table. I think it's very stupid for the game. And I do think this is an okay change. It's still a pretty good relic, I think. Especially if you just have like one repulsor executioner or whatever, right? One repulsor, you're just like, okay, that one gets the serpent shield, -1 damage, and we move on from there. March of the Ancients. Add the following sentence. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. How will they let this stratagem get through? I have no idea. Clearly this is a perfect fix for this one. You don't need a bunch of untargetable Space Marine dreadnoughts in the backfield. And a lot of the problems in 40k, I feel, that not, aircrafts for sure, but another problem is they make these books and then people take the books and apply them to things like Forge World units, which were, I assume, not tested with, or they apply them to like maybe index units, which also hopefully very soon are just gone with that Legends nonsense. But so yeah, bunch of unshootable Space Marine dreadnoughts with las cannons like Contemptor, Mortis Dreads, Daradiels, whatever ones were the ones that you could make that don't have enough wounds when they're a character to be targeted. Perfect fix. I love this one a lot. No change to the CPs or anything, right? Good fix. Now this one is, some of these I don't like at all. Souls of Iron change the CP cost of this stratagem to 2. This is the Deny the Witch ability, basically, where it's a 4-up to stop a psychic power. It's a very good stratagem. People in the game are allowed to have good 1 CP stratagems. If you don't think so, look at Necrons for 1 command point, reroll hits and wounds for destroyers, which are one of their highest damage output units. So 1 CP stratagems exist that are good. So just changing this to 2 CP is just a little bit, I think, heavy-handed and a little bit nonsensy for an FAQ for a book. I think they could have let this one ride at 1 CP for a while if it really was a problem. Maybe address it in a chapter approved or in a future FAQ. Because when you're releasing a FAQ, you can just release it at any time and update it at any time. So you don't have to attack every potential imaginary problem at once. You could, let some dust settle and then decide, was it enough? Or do we go a little further? That sort of thing. This one, bad choice, stupid. Optimal repulsion doctrines. Change the command points of this stratagem to 2. This is the one where you can overwatch on 4s if you're Iron Hands, 5s if you're a successor. It's a very powerful one. Once again, it's for 1 unit. Should just stay at 1 CP, I think. I don't think this was the one that everybody was, super worried about. Also, you have units in the game that ignore Overwatch. You have abilities in the game to prevent Overwatch. They seem like they're adding more of that into the game. So in the future, the more and more they add of that, the less this even becomes worth the 2 CP. But I think this is another one where they could have let it ride out a little bit and see what happens. And actually going back one to the Souls of Iron, when you spend a command point and then have to roll a 4+, so potentially you get nothing for it, I think that's okay at 1, right? It doesn't have to be 2. And then if you spend 1 and then you roll a 3 or less, and then you have to use another command point to re-roll that die, and it still can potentially fail, I think it just seems okay at 1. So I don't like these changes that I now have to, update my book, which I'm going to wait on, see what happens. Machine Empathy. Change the last sentence of this stratagem to read, that model can use that ability again. Basically, they removed that you can heal the same model twice. This one's also kind of stupid because I play Adeptus Mechanicus and we can use our stratagem to heal the same model twice, and it could be 2d3 plus 2 wounds in a turn. So it's not unheard of. The only reason this stratagem is a little too strong was because the Iron Daddy heals a flat 3, which I'm surprised they didn't just change him to heal just D3, or D3 plus 1, I don't know. So this one's fine though, double heal, whatever. It is what it is. Maybe healing 6 flat, too good. Healing 2d3, not too good. So this one that falls in the middle, just bad rules writing that I guess they let that slip through. Or they could have even done it like, use the stratagem to heal an additional D3 to a unit instead of like the flat 3. So, I don't know. Next one, Reforge is the psychic power. If manifested, select one Iron Hands vehicle within 3 invisible to the Psyker. You cannot select a model that has already regained lost wounds. So this is the psychic power to heal D3 wounds. You can't stack this with characters or other things that have already healed models' wounds. Okay, they're saying you can't double heal, except I currently play an army that can, so that seems odd to me. And unless I'm getting this really wrong, because I didn't actually double check my AdMech book, but I'm almost positive the stratagem lets you double heal the same unit. So this is another one. I think it's fine. It just seems sloppy. I don't think this one was a problem. If you're already saying that you can't use the double stratagem to heal a flat 6, I don't think healing 3 plus D3 is too much at all, especially when you consider that they got rid of the invuln save and the damage reduction aura, and this is a psychic power that still requires a roll, which can still be denied. There's a lot of things here to just nerf this one. It makes no sense to me. I think this one was also one they should have definitely thought about a little bit. I don't understand how some of this slips through. And then it feels a little panicky on this one. I think they panicked because the Iron Hands had that really good weekend. But I don't think this bothers me too much. Here we go. If you have Duty Eternal and Ironstone, you have and then subtract. If you stack them up, that one's fine. These are just the questions, actually, not the erratas. If you make a Dreadnought, a Warlord, and a character, you can give it a Warlord trait. Pretty cool. And the Sigma array ability changes the bliss skill to a 2+. That was an obvious one. I don't know who asked that question. And I don't know how it got in there. So there you go. Iron Hands errata. This is an errata, not an FAQ. This is an errata. The FAQs are pretty minimal and very easily understood with just reading the actual rules. The errata seems okay. I think the army's still good. Unfortunately, they fixed the dumb character Dreadnought army. Perfect. They fixed some of the castling up, just visual problems and the problems of just having an army all piled in on each other. That's fine. And I think they went a little too far on the stratagem CP changes, just because we're talking about things you got to change in your book a little bit, and definitely too far on that psychic power and the double heal and stuff. So I don't know. There you have it. Besides that, the army's probably still pretty good. So hopefully you subscribe, and we got more stuff coming, and I'll talk to you soon. Please subscribe.